hours. I was saying before last night that as a professional poker player, you can play in a casino live any hour, any day of the year, apart from one day, Christmas Day. So you pick your hours. You choose, you're self-employed, you can choose any other day. You go to a casino, there will be a game, you'll be able to play, you'll be able to, and if you're a winning player, you'll be able to make money. Same in terms of online, but you can play any hour of any day of the year. So because of that, I think you get a lot of time to look at the system and to step away from a lot of what individuals see as a necessity, see as what they have to do, and very fortunate to be able to take a step back. But as a result also, you get that kind of realization, especially when you can make a lot of money. It is a lucrative market. It is something where you get a lot of freedom, there's a lot of luxury, and you know, when I made it in terms of living in Las Vegas and had all this wealth, I was so petrified in a way that I felt like I didn't have much more to grow, that I could just buy a house outright, and then what would I do? Just live in it and just be bored? What was I going to do with the rest of my life? You know, these are questions that most people don't get to ask themselves, and they are pretty scary questions when you just they're thrust upon you. But no one gets to really like consider that until I guess you're in that situation. And there's a lot of individuals that get sold this kind of from the Western world through commercialism, through consumerism, that you know, if you buy the latest car or the most beautiful car, you'll have the beautiful 2.4 family, and you'll be driving around the French Alps on a sunny day, and your life will be perfect. But you know, there's something lovely about having a lovely car, but it's not going to solve all your interpersonal relationship issues, or you know, actually having a wonderful family, which isn't always a rainbow and light for individuals that have that. There's darkness in there as well, and there's aspects of challenge, and there's hurdles, and there's things that you have to overcome, and actually that is the game. You know, it's very I don't want to say overused, but the people that say the joy is in the journey, how many times do you get to ask yourself, what journey do I want to take? Because if you're on a journey that someone else has mapped out for you, I don't know how much joy there is in that. But if it's a journey which you're saying, okay, this is my journey, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm going to uncover. And fortunately enough, through poker, it's afforded me the ability to be able to say, okay, what is my journey? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Where am I going to experiment? A lot of individuals feel like they have to go into 9 to 5, and depending on where your financial situation is, it is important that you get your income, you know, above, you know, survival rate, that you get to a certain level where you where you can afford rent and food and those things. That's important, right? But it's not to say that that has to just be your journey. That's not to say that is your journey. You know, that's just a part of your journey. And if you, like, you know, Gary Vaynerchuk always says that, you know, how many hours do you have in a day? Because you might be working 8 hours a day, but like now you've got at least another 4, if not more, that you can put on the thing that you can love and you can do, you know. And social media is this amazing tool. You know, there's individuals that I watch because I come from a gaming background. There's individuals that would otherwise be stuck in a university dorm room just accruing debt, who are playing computer games, but they've got an entire following, and individuals that are giving them $5 here, $10 here, $100 here for their live stream, for them doing what they do, which is basically connecting with individuals around the game that they love and playing computer games. And an individual that I watched last night, she did a 9-hour stream because it was a new game, you know, and that's not uncommon for her to do like 8 hours a day, like every single day apart from Sunday, you know, the day of rest.
Wow.
And she's getting paid for that, and she's awesome at it. And the most amazing thing about her is like the person that she is really comes out, and she's really warm, thoughtful, kind-hearted, a little bit kind of geeky, a little bit kind of like, you know, awkward sometimes, but her community loves her, you know, and as a result, that's available. And that's one of many things that individuals could do. Like, find that thing that you love, you know, whether that be coffee or whether that be Smurfs or whatever that example is, and see how you could put like a business structure around it, or put something, a sharing of value around it.
That's the thing. Where I'm speaking to a lot of people. One of the guys here in the studio is a stuntman. He's got decent Instagram following, and a Facebook following as well. There's a lot of videos, but he was like, "How do I monetize this?" And that's the biggest question. So, what advice do you have for people out there that are creating social communities, that are building a following, but what's next for them? What's next for them?
Well, you either monetize through a service, a product, or your own value time as an expert in your field. So
Yeah.
those are three things, and that expertise can come through speaking gigs. It can come from consultancy, which probably
How
more
about if
part
you're a
of the
comedian or
service.
someone that's like a fun person? Is it it's just about going on stage and speaking and getting paid for the speaking gigs? Is it, or do you get brands to reach? How do you get brands to reach out to you, or do you reach out to brands? Do
This
you?
this is a great example. This is
Yeah.
a great example. I've been to a comedy club for £5, and I've got to see some of these great comedians, these youngsters, and some of them were working their material and it wasn't great, but a lot of them were very good, very polished. And this is £5, and we get to go hang out with them at the bar and buy them a drink because they're these struggling comedians, like a lot of artists. And I'm just like, what's going on? And literally, one of these guys that I saw, literally 10 days later, was on a big show in the UK. It's called Nevermind the Buzzcocks, right?
Yeah.
They were on it. And then they're back to being in the comedian stream. And it's like, wow, okay, these guys don't realise the value that they have. They're really funny people, and they have really good ways of expressing themselves. They have really good ways of like commenting on the society that we live in, on certain topics and taboos and subjects which we find very hard to talk about sometimes. But when you do it through comedy, I think comedy is a great medium and vehicle to discuss these things which we struggle to talk about in any other way, right? So having your own channel, like building up your own personal brand, that's first and foremost. Like getting out there on social media, like building yourself up first and foremost so people can know. And once you get a following, anyone with an audience has an opportunity to then go to a business, go to someone that might sell a product which you already use or you already love, or a service which you know, a personal trainer.
The first thing that most of the audience I'm talking to look at is the clothing side of things, and I'm trying to say, okay, how do these guys come up with something different that's not just your t-shirts, your motivational caps, or your basic sort of like your basic sort of hair and makeup products, or a small fragrance and things like what else is there that people need to look out for? What is it like? What have you seen out there that's really caught your eye and say, "Oh, that person's selling something different"?
I think the most unique thing that someone could sell is themselves and an extension of themselves, right? So if you're someone
So
that's
it's like
a
an
stuntman,
attachment to something.
yeah, if you're a stuntman, being able to sell, like, I don't know if you've seen these amazing cameras that fly in the air and follow you. You know, I think as a stuntman that might be really useful. I might be way off. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
the stuntman world. But if that's something that's really specific to what you do and it's something that's an embodiment of you, then that would be really special. You know.
So it's about going back to the things that you love and saying, okay, what is it that I absolutely love, that's an extension of me, that I'm attached to, that I buy every single day, that I'm obsessed with, that I can turn into a business.
100%, and that way it won't ever be selling. I know a lot of individuals find it really hard to sell, and it's like, you know, the best form of sales is never a sale. It's just something that you can't stop talking about. You can't stop like living and breathing. You know, I guess in some ways, I'm a walking, talking poker advert. But I don't look to say, hey, come and play poker, come play poker. I don't say that to anyone. I don't think that anyone should do it. But like, because it's been such a part of me, because it's something I love so much, I end up talking about it. People like it, and the people that really like, oh, I was thinking about doing that. I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go and check that out. You know, that's when it becomes easy. And if there's something where you can monetize, there's either a product or a service, like I was saying before, or an expertise. You know, for me, it would be easy for me to be like, right, I'm going to teach someone how to make 100,000 in 18 months.
So do you have an attachment that you would like to start selling, or something that you would do? Is there something that you're really attached to right now that you would say, look, I could possibly turn this into a product or a service that I could offer to people? That's an attachment of me.
Well, I was saying that I could sell my poker consultancy stuff or just education stuff around being a poker player.
Yeah.
Like I know I could take someone, and okay, maybe 100,000 is a lot for someone when they first started out, but they can make at least 30 to 50,000 within 18 months if they really apply themselves in the live game from nothing, right? Okay, I know I could do that. But is it something that, again, then looking in terms of the action and the real life of like, what does that look like? How does that function? Is it something that I want to be doing? You know, for me being a teacher one-on-one and like taking someone from zero to hero, like that's actually a hard journey, and it's not something that I particularly want to do. Like it's not something I want to do. No.
Okay.
Like it's something that I tested, and I think this is really important that you test things. That you test the different areas. So you say like, okay, let's test my expertise in selling it and like get someone on board and see like, I've tested with someone. I've got like a young 20-year-old something guy who's never played poker. He was into a bit of trading. He was doing a bit of property stuff. And like he doesn't know anything about poker, and I gave him a poker book and started running through hands with him, and like, and I actually started staking him. So none of his own money, you know, it's purely on me in terms of financial costs. It's just his time. You know, once he builds up that skill, he'll have that skill for life in terms of being able to play poker anywhere.
How hard was that to teach him?
That's really super hard, you know, because at the end of the day, it's up to that individual how much they want it, and he's got all those other distractions. Like he really wants to be in finance, like in terms of trading. Like that's his real.
For his is more the money game.
Yeah,
it
and so like again, like you can love the game or you can love the money, but as soon as you start loving the money, it's going to affect your game, and that's 100%. A really really dangerous thing, right? But when you just love the game, the money just comes. It's like a magnet. It just comes, and it's just like, I'm going to go and play tonight because I just love the game. And I don't know what games are going to be available, but I'm just going to show up, keep showing up.
What do you think, at what point in society did people move from that point of really becoming, like, if you think about everyone that's been successful in the world, they're great at their game.
Yeah,
but then,
100%.
and then there's people who are great at making money. But then then it's like, okay, so where do you put yourself in the situation? Do you I want to make quick money and I want it now, or because I'm coming from a place of desperation, like I'm in a situation where I don't have a lot of money and I need to make more money. So do people dive straight for the money because that's all they can think of? How do you at that point switch your mindset when you're in a place of desperation? Just try and switch your mindset and focus on the game.
You know, I think there's a distinction and a layer between feeling like you have no money and then back against the wall. You know, when we decided we're going to play poker, we're going to make money from it, we didn't have money for rent because it was going on the tables, and then that was our bankroll. Right? So our back was against the wall. We had to make it happen, right? And I guess there's a distinction there between like.
Is that a risk though? Because that's just a risky game, that is. Because you've just put everything that you possibly could have and just...
Well, I haven't put... Again, sorry. With bankroll management, that means that I have 50 buy-ins.
Oh, okay.
Right? So that means that I've got 50 buy-ins locked aside for poker. So I'm never playing 50 buy-ins. I was playing 10 or 12 at most.
Yeah.
And given variance, given how things were at the time, it would be very unlikely to lose all of them at any one go in that situation. Right?
Yeah.
But if it happened... I've still got 38 buy-ins and I can go again. And because it happened then, it wouldn't really happen again. It might lose another 2 at most, and then you'd go back on an upswing, right? So it's got that nice fluidity to it. Like obviously mapping out the strategy, the financial strategy for what you're doing is really important. But because we'd gone all in on that financial strategy, our back was up against the wall to make the rent and then make positive income external to that.
So how do you still be invested in the game? In any game, whether it's your skill or whatever it is, how do you be invested in the game and still have a financial strategy? Because the problem that most entrepreneurs is, the minute they start thinking about finance, it gets depressing for them. And this is the actual feelings of what they tell me. Like, I love what I do. I am great at what I do. But there's people who out there who just, as soon as they look at the finance, they're like, shit. It just depresses them and it puts them on an all-time low. People who avoid the finance, they avoid the financial strategy so much, and that's what's not making them successful.
I think you have to realise that that's your runway. You know, if you love flying or driving a plane on the runway, then you need a runway to be on, a concourse, right? And so if you don't have that runway, then you're not going to be able to do the thing you love. And so to some degree you've got to know your finances, but there's loads of individuals that love that technical skill around finance. There's loads of individuals who are really good at bookkeeping and all of those sort of things, and maybe that's one of the things you do outsource, but it's important that in terms of business that you at least know the KPIs, that you know that you have runway, so you get to pay.
Because I've noticed like someone like Gary Vee, he doesn't really talk about the money aspect of things. He's just like, I'm here to create massive value, and I'm here to basically do what I've said I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But he doesn't touch the finances.
No.
But as an entrepreneur starting off, like, you can't have that person. Now, how do you emotionally bring someone on board? That's one you have to trust them. Two, you're gonna have to trust them with, like, you're gonna have to leave them to it, which is another point. And it's just difficult for someone to do that. And not only that, we have to find that person. Where are these people that are money savvy but are willing to put their whole life behind and come and work with you as a business partner? That's the challenge.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a bullet you have to bite in business then. Like, you're going to have to be the first person that does it. Like, most people starting out are not going to be able to afford to hire anyone, let alone someone that's going to be looking at the books. And even when you have someone that's looking at the books, even for Gary, he's still got to know those key numbers and have a certain level of financial literacy. And it's more logical, left brain side, that you're going to be like, oh, this is kind of like strenuous and it takes whatever. But like, you got to do it, just like you got to do your taxes, just like you got to do, certain things in poker where I've got to log the days that I play in case their system isn't good enough, because if you play a certain number of days in these casino events, you get a free tournament, which is called the cash race, and you can make thousands of pounds just by sitting on this free tournament for being a regular, But if you haven't done enough days and you can't prove that, then you don't get to play. And it's very competitive to get into those things, obviously, because it's kind of free money in some essence, right? There's certain things that you're going to have to do that you don't love. But don't let that outweigh the things that you love doing. Like, make sure that you kind of reward yourself with saying, look, I'm going to put an hour on finances today, but then I've got 8 hours of networking or connecting or, doing the things that I love. Reward yourself. I think there's a constant balance or opportunity to learn more about yourself and learning how to get yourself over the line on the things that you hate doing, until you can outsource them to a certain degree.
And this is and people overcomplicate, and I mentioned this a number of times. I talk to a lot of people. Their whole business model or everything they're trying to do, because there's so much competition in the market, they're trying to overcomplicate and add so many things and create so many new things. They've got so many ideas, and it comes down to the simplicity of not only what they're doing but their lives. How did you create a simple life? What was the process that you had to undergo in order to create a simple lifestyle for yourself so you can thrive in the business world?
So I think the saying is, any fool can complicate something, but it takes a true genius to simplify things. Not to say that I've simplified everything.
Is that your quote?
I think, look at the simplicity of Apple, even though it's such a complex thing, but it's so simple to use, the usability. I think we were talking about that just before we started here. They're the things that work the best, the simple life is the best life. I think something that I'd never mention very frequently is, in those 2.5 years that I had off and I was doing personal development, these personal development courses aren't cheap, and I wasn't doing anything else, right? So I was paying for all this stuff, and then I got back down, and I only had like $5,000 to my name. Right, when I started playing poker again. When I started almost from scratch, but now in the live game, rather than playing multiple tables online, I brought it back to basics. And I think that's something that is true throughout an entrepreneur's journey as well, which is like, how much money do you need just to be like, okay, I've got the fire underneath my feet, I don't feel like I have no money, but I have enough money where I can do things, and put the rest in assets or other investments or other things. So you're just like, boom, okay, I'm still all in. I'm still committed. I still feel as though I'm on that council estate, and I've just got something to drive towards.
So people are trying to run before they come up, basically, a lot of the time. So in terms of what did you have to do to strip things away for yourself? Did you have to sell all your crap and think about, okay, what is the basic necessities? Did you have to sell all your shit? Did you have to blow all your money, then come back to scratch? That's pretty much what you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
But
And now I just put that money into something that's gonna just generate money in the background.
And what was the mental process for you? How difficult was that mentally for you to go through that journey? Because there's a lot of people there. It's easier said than done. Yeah, it is true. It's easier said than done. But what was the mental process? How did you feel at those moments?
This is we're going deep here, and I think there's always that saying that a lot of great entrepreneurs first lose their wealth before they make real wealth. And I don't know why that's such a lesson that so many people seem to have to go through. But once you've gone and you've been living in luxury, and as much as comfort can be the kiss of death and all those things, but then once you go back to zero again, I remember I went and I was in London, and we went and we bought, and I had a spaghetti pasta dish, and I was talking to the girl that I was with at the time, and I said to her, I think this is the last £10 in my available funds. And she said, you don't seem to be sweating it, what's going on? And then I think as soon as you then go to the cash machine and put the number in and there's nothing there, you're like, oh gosh, okay. Then reality has to hit you. Reality has to hit you.
You seem so cool. I can imagine you at that cash machine being like, all right, I've got £0, but yeah, it's cool, not a problem. I know I can go do whatever now. You seem so calm about it. I've had it in my career where I've had £0 in my pocket, and I'm stressing the life out every single moment that I live in that day. So, how the hell do you stay so calm? Where did that come from?
When you grow up and you're always known as the smart kid, and it's the messed up world of the education system. Now, I'm not a fan of the education system. I spent a long time in it and the higher education system, and I think it's very good for a few individuals, and I like to give that analogy. Maybe a few people have seen it. The education system is you have a monkey, a goldfish, an elephant and a giraffe, and then you point to a tree and you say, climb the tree. And the monkey is already halfway up the tree thinking he's doing a great job. In some ways he has, but then all the other animals think, our self-esteem is bound around the fact that we can't climb this tree. And yet entrepreneurship is more like the fish that can jump out the goldfish and swim in the stream. He's just going to beat every animal, in terms of that. And for me, I just grew up flourishing within an academic system and being told oh wow, and having my stories read out a certain year where I'm not on the highest year, but in front of the entire school, middle school, they're reading out my story. I'm having to read out my story in front of everybody else in assembly, and it's awkward because I was the new kid as well. My parents moved around a little bit, and it's there's a weird kind of balance of knowing you're great, but feeling that you're an outsider because you're always the new person, but also because you're the smart kid. No one likes the monkey that's climbed the tree so well. That's just how I used to be. So I always had that confidence built in because all the teachers, all the parents were like, oh, that's great, that's great, that's great. Ironically, I never really went to a single parents' evening to receive that full validation afterwards at secondary school. But I always had that, and I always just know, when you go through life and you that you just know your skill set fits the world, then you're good. But the ironic thing is that everyone has a skill set. There are people that are so much better at other aspects. It's another Gary Vee thing. It's there are individuals that are so fluent, so amazing, so bubbly to be around. They're a people person beyond. Yet they don't know anything about business, but they would flourish in business. Even if they just found a product and they just connect with individuals, and then they end up saying, oh, what do you do? Oh, I sell this product, which is something that they outsource through someone else. They would kill it, much better than myself, I feel.
Okay, that's interesting. So, what is... I'm gonna make this a tradition on the show, and I'm gonna make this a tradition in quite a few podcasts. What is the best advice that you would like to give entrepreneurs? And secondly, what is the difference that you want to make in the world? So firstly, what advice would you give to them? What are the top, even if it's the top 5 tips or top 5 advice, what is it that you would like to give to these entrepreneurs?
Okay, so if anybody knows about the property world, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's an amazing book. It would started to transform things in terms of my mindset, in terms of assets, and also valuing yourself. But he always says network equals net worth. He says if he started out again, if he had to do something, the guy's a multi-millionaire. If he started out, he would build a network. And I hear it from some of the dragons as well. They say, if I go broke, as long as I've got my little black book, I'll be fine. Because it's knowing that, okay, that person's an expert in finance, that person's an expert in product delivery, that person's an expert in project management, that person's an expert at technical delivery. Put that all together, I think there's a value in the market here for that. If you can do that, then you're an entrepreneur. That's the skill of an entrepreneur, getting all those great skill sets together, getting people aligned to a vision. That is the definition of entrepreneurship. Number two, I would say, is the grit and the grind and being able to live the life of an entrepreneur. It isn't easy, People want to, they sell you the luxury and the success and all those things come, but really they're just kind of like tokens and rewards for putting yourself on the line. And a lot of people want to say, oh, I want to be that gladiator in the ring that all the crowd is celebrating. But really, being a gladiator means the sweat and the toil of wrestling other men, in the training room. And it's the same for entrepreneurship. You have to be prepared to get in the grit and the grime of rejection and rejection and rejection from financiers, from customers, from potential business partners, from people time and time again, building up. Even when you're successful, that happens. Just because people have their lives and they're not always open to risk. People like certainty. They like sure things. They don't like too much change, right? That's a part of the journey. If you're not open to that, then it's so much better. I think, again, Gary Vee is so good around self-awareness to say, know yourself. If you know that you just like working 8 hours a day and you just like being told what to do, you'll make an excellent employee. You probably absolutely kill it as a manager, or an executive even, You
don't have to be an entrepreneur.
You don't
it's
have
not
to be an
everyone.
entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is non-stop, 16 hours a day, you've got people on at you, right? From your clients that might not be happy about something that's gone down right, from some that won't be able to do the service or the product that you promised, all these different things that are going on, right? So knowing about the journey, willing to be on course for it. I think on the third level is, I guess it's aligning to the second question as well, which we'll get to in depth, which is, why are you doing this? So I've listened to some guys that I trained with who became millionaires, and they then were again, similarly lost, a bit similar to my journey in poker, which was saying why am I doing this? I wanted it to become a millionaire. Now I'm a millionaire. It's well, why the hell am I doing this? If you don't have a purpose that's beyond, it's very rare that you'll get to a high level of money status, Learning about yourself within the game set as well. There's so many different ways to make money in business and what to do and opportunities. You have to know that as soon as you're doing something that you're not completely aligned with, you're not going to be the best person in that role. And so you have to get clear on what you want to see in the world, what you want to produce. There are going to be people turning to you, asking you questions about putting out fires and what we're going to do and where we're going to go. And if you don't know, if you don't have a vision, it's very hard to answer those questions. If you don't know what you want to see in the world, you don't know whether you want to take, finance from Toyota that are in the media for whatever reason, positive or negative, or whether you're going to be no, we need to go alone, All decisions are framed around what you want to see in the world. Everything you see in this room was once created by an entrepreneur because they had a vision, right?
Yeah.
That's the power of entrepreneurship. That's the game you're in. So that's really, really important to have that skill down.
And you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, because it's not often that you hear people from such a different, unique, career point that have come into business and entrepreneurship, that are telling you things that are, you can make a skill and you can turn it into a career or a business from with anything. You've done it from poker. You created a career out of poker from university dorm rooms. You've done that, and it's a pleasure just knowing. Like I'm just writing these tips down for Facebook community, and it's like network is your net worth 100%. I think if it wasn't for me going out there every single day, going to every single networking event and speaking to everyone, I wouldn't think I would be where I am today. If it wasn't, those are the things that open doors to opportunities. Being prepared for the grind and rejection, I think that's the biggest thing, and and the patience that comes with it. Like you need to have that patience. If you're not willing to, if you're someone that's gonna want results that quick, or you want results in a year or 2 years, you gotta bear in mind some of these people that have been in for 10 years and they haven't got successful. So, what makes you think you are so privileged to have that success in a short space amount of time? Yes, if you know your business, if you're very practical, unless you've taught yourself. Many people don't have that education or have that, lucky enough to have that education. A lot of people, we just teach ourselves and we fall into business and we teach ourselves everything about business. So, definitely, understanding the grind and rejection. And then, thirdly, knowing what you're doing, finding the purpose, and being clear about what you want in the world.
Yeah, and I guess that leads into the second question, which
Yeah.
was what is my purpose? What have I found
Yeah.
after all these uncoverings, which I think is actually the ultimate journey of life. I just through this journey, I've seen that we probably have things really backwards, especially in the Western world.
Yeah.
With the moaning culture, especially in the UK, the people that have basically set up a system for a lot of employees, but you know what? There's an advent of a new technology coming through that are going to be releasing up a lot of jobs. What with automated drivers, what with AI, what with bots, what with robots coming at a certain point in time, and it's going to come to this point of like, actually, we're freeing up a lot of the mundanity of our lives. We're giving ourselves a lot more time to really be connected with ourselves as an opportunity to find out what we have to give. And so I think my purpose would be to start being a change maker in the space. I think a lot of crazy things are happening in the world right now because we still have old traditional media, which is tapping into new media as well to a certain degree. But old traditional media heads are still pulling the strings right now, where we have this whole Trump debate for president, or other aspects and other issues with Hillary as well. And those are the two choices. There's only two choices. Well, there might be other choices as well. But the reason why people think there's only two choices, the reason why people think that they've only got a 9-to-5 job opportunity or no job as an opportunity, the reason why people only think they've got such limited choices is because it's being taught through our education system, it's been perpetuated through our from our government, it's being pushed down people's throats through the media channels, and so
So you want to make a difference in the world using the new media that's out there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really cool change makers out there. A lot of people like Gary Vaynerchuk. I mean, how many lives is Gary V going to change because he's saying like, you know what, I'm not just going to skim all the money and become the billionaire that owns the New York Jets. I'm going to show you guys that you can do the same along the way. Whatever level that is, you probably won't own it to do it to his level. But you can create a life for yourself, just like the gamer girl, just like the individual that loves eating healthy. There's so many things where it's just like, because people have such limited time, because they're so focused on their family and their lives and getting to work and doing those things, it's like when they find someone that is immersed in the one thing which they know they have to improve, whether it be health, whether it be understanding their kids, whether it be whatever those things are, then it's like, wow, okay, if I can just listen to you, if I can just take your course, if I can just watch your stuff, then I can benefit, and I can grow as an individual. And, if we just keep growing everyone at a higher rate, that's how society progresses and moves forward. And I guess that's my purpose, and that's what I see with yourself, Abdul, that you help to support and grow other individuals within business. And some of the things that you come up with, I mean, it's high level, man.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate all the kind words. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I'm glad that you came last minute as a dropout person, but you've come on the show. You've been an absolute pleasure to have on. I've learned a lot from it, and I think our viewers will as well. And I look forward to having a part 2 to this at some point.
Brilliant. Let's do it. It's been a pleasure.
Definitely. And where can people find you very quickly? Where can people find out where Josh is?
So my handle is Run Like Josh on every social media. So Run Like Josh on Snapchat, Run Like Josh on Twitter. It's actually Run Like Josh UK on Instagram. I think it's the only one that I didn't get.
I'm quiet about those ones.
But yeah, just Run Like Josh. So.
Perfect. Well, thank you for coming in, and thank you all listeners and viewers. We will be back this time next week, Wednesday, 4 to 6 p.m. Tune in, and for now, peace out.